But what I'm going to do now is introduce Pamela Budner. And Scott, you're going to put up Pam's monthly power plan. Pam Budner has been a best friend of mine since 9th grade. She was my first leader in my business, and we've been co-patriots ever since. And it's a fascinating and wonderful experience to have one of your best friends a part of your Shackley business. So Scott, take it away.
All righty. Thanks, Joanne. Everybody hear me?
Yes.
Good. Okay. I love the graphic. I think, Scott, you created this. It's really, I do love it. So we're going to talk a little bit about what to do at the start of every month. You know, the thing about this business, Shackley conducts all their business on a calendar month. So we have 29, 30, or 31 days to make it happen, right? And I found in my time in Shackley, which is also approaching 50 years, that in the coaching I've done and in working with people and also with myself, if I wait till the second or third week in the month to really focus on what I need to do to get the volume done, I get into this panic mode, and it's not a happy place to be. And then the business becomes full of stress and tension when it should not. So I would like to recommend before we start, because this is all about how we think about creating a rhythm to our business that's natural and fun and exciting. So this is a book that's been around a lot. Some of you know about it, some of you may not, but it's called Write It Down, Make It Happen. It's kind of a classic. It's an easy read, and it's really a prelude to what we're going to be talking about with this monthly power plan, because it all begins in how you want to set the month and set the rhythm to your month. Let's go to the next slide. The author is Henriette Ann Klauser, Klauser. Write it down, make it happen. So we have PV goals to make. Joanne had said, okay, 6,000 PV. How are we going to do it? We're going to create a variety of people within our database. And, you know, but how does it start? It starts with writing things down. And I know when Joanne and I first started working this business together, we got a piece of poster board, and on a big piece of poster board, magic markers on the floor of my bedroom in my parents' home in Connecticut. And on one side, we wrote the months of the year, a full year. And across the top, we wrote down activities, right? Skincare events, nutrition hours, cleaning buckets, all these different types of things. And then when we wrote down the names of the people on this chart that we could brainstorm, talk to, create some ideas about how to connect them to what Shackley's all about. So start with your goal. Write down at the beginning of the month, 6,000 PV or whatever your goal is. If you're at 2, go to 3. If you're at 5, go to 7. But stretch yourself so you have a goal. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, so this is a chart, and you can, you'll see the chart as it comes up. And again, it'll be in the back office. But this is where you write down the names of people, both people within your organization now and prospects that you have, people who are inactive or active or business builders who are in the past, or you want to work with them in the future. But this is the place where you want to write down names. And I have to tell you a funny story, because one of the things I do every month is I send postcards. I go to Vistaprint, I design a simple little postcard. It goes out every month to everyone in my database, because I want that person to know I'm thinking about them and I have their best interests at heart. Well, I decided I'd clean out my mailing list last month, and I went into my database and I deleted 3 or 4 names from my postcard list, because I just hadn't heard from them in a while, and I just thought, you know, their activity's been pretty vacant and I wanted to clean things up. Well, wouldn't you know, in the past 2 weeks, each one of those people that I deleted from my database had placed an order. So it's like, okay, now they're going back on my postcard list. So the second column, you want to list the amount of PV you expect from your existing customer group volume. So who are these people? These are the people, they order every month. These are the people who have loyalty orders, right? And their loyalty orders in place every month. And you can expect a certain amount of volume coming from that group of people. Also, you have your own list of personal things that you buy for yourself and any inventory you want to keep on hand. In the early days of Shackley, of course, many of you know we had inventory and we had case lots, and we don't have to do that anymore. It's really wonderful. But we do, I think, have to have what I call my personal pantry. And right now, I wish I had a few greens boost in my personal pantry. I wish I had some of the immunity chews that or gummies that my grandkids love. You know, back orders happen, things happen. The other thing why you want some things in a personal pantry is you want to have something on hand. Should you be in a conversation with someone? Should you bump into somebody and they say, oh, you talk about sleep. This happened to me recently. And I said, you know, I love the magnesium. It really helps me get a great deep sleep every night. And it's so easy. I just take a couple. And she said, well, could I try some? Well, I have extra magnesium. So I was able to share a bottle with her and we'll see what happens. But it's a wonderful way to be able to just pass a product to someone and share. So personal pantry, personal use, that goes into the second column. In the third column, we talk about activity ideas. What kinds of things could you do to increase your volume? Who are the most significant people on your list? So if you have a list of names, you're going to have your frequent flyers, I call them, your people that you know, but you're also going to have people on it that maybe, you know, you've been thinking about talking with them, but you haven't had the opportunity, or you haven't been bold enough or fearless enough to open up that conversation. You put a couple of stars next to those people. And what could happen if you actually had a conversation with them, an appointment, um, and your volume could expand from introducing those new people, those brand new significant people on that list. So that goes in your third column, and you'll see the blank page that this refers to in the next slide. I think it's the next one. Okay, we have a fourth column. So this is your expanded PV, and that's the total for the month based upon the number of activities that you're going to do, and you divide it into 4 weeks. So if your goal is to get to 2000 PV, then it's 500 PV a week, then you break it down into 72 PV a day. This is really critical, you guys. I can't tell you, because I work with something, we're saying kudos to Mary Loomis tonight. Mary introduced me to something called the day timer, which looks like this. And I still use a big 8.5 by whatever size, 11 day timer. And at the start of every month, I write down my PV goal at the top. So I wrote down, I'll share with you, 7,000 PV for the month of March. And I always write or more after my goal. So if your goal is 2000 PV, you write it down, March equals 2000 PV or more. And that's important because it opens up your mind to receive more, to do more, to be more, to connect with more people in the name of Shackley, however that may be. And it expands your thinking. And this is all about expanding our thinking. So to do, Joanne was talking about 6,000 PV divided by 31 days in the month, you have to have a flow of $194 worth of product movement every day. And so what do you write on your calendar? 194 PV, 194 PV for every day. Now, we know it's not going to happen like that. Some days you won't do anything. Other days you'll triple that. Other days you'll double that. But what that does, it sets up your subconscious mind to receive that amount on average every single day of the month. It sets you up to do more work in the name of Shackley. And work doesn't necessarily mean hard stuff. Work can be making a phone call, work can be having a conversation, work can be sending a postcard, a newsletter, an email to let someone know you're thinking about them. So at the end, you have a results column and you can applaud yourself for the activities you've done and also star the things that you've not yet completed. But always start. Who was it who said this? Someone could help me maybe fill in this blank. Begin with the end in mind. Stephen Covey, I think, said that. And that's exactly what this power plan is all about. Begin with the end in mind. Don't make it unreasonable. If you're at 500 PV, don't put 10,000 down. Put something that's going to stretch you, award you, maybe push you into the next bonus bracket. You know, if you're hovering at 1,998, time to, you know, get a couple of new retail customers, time to maybe enrich your personal pantry and move to that 2,000. Let's go to the next slide. I think this will be the slide that has the
Hang on, I'm
graphic.
stuck.
Are you stuck?
There you go.
There you go. So this is what it looks like, and you'll see it. I think there'll be a printable version of this in the back office so that you can have a template and you can start every month with a fresh sheet. I
And
like
it's
to
a
use my
whole
day
8.5
timer.
by 11. It'll be a whole sheet of
Yeah,
with
8.5 by
correct
11,
lining and
like this.
everything.
But this is a fun place to start creating. And on your name side too, the thing about doing this business right, if you build it as Mary taught us to do, you will have customers who will be with you for 30, 40 years and beyond, lifetime customers. And those are like gold. And you want to honor them, make them feel great, send them a birthday card, give them a call. And those names go down and you honor those. The other thing that I like to do in my day timer, I want at the start of the month, I write down my loyalty customers in red on my day timer. So I know, for example, that this coming week, I have Candy and Maggie and Allison and Tommy have auto ships coming up, auto ships loyalty orders. And I want to make sure some people, they do it by themselves. They don't really need me. Other people need a little call, or they're not reading their Shackley generated marketing emails that the company sends out. They might like to know that this month there's 20% off youth. And they didn't hear it from anywhere. They're going to hear it from me. So I might do a search through my database and find out everyone who's ordered youth in the last year. I want to check and make sure that they are aware of the special. So the company now is putting out specials almost every month. And I think it's our job to really promote those as best we can and let people know about it. So you have your expected PV, then you have your rich activity ideas that will expand your PV. So let's go to the next slide, and that will talk about some of the things that you can think about. Yes, repeat the process. Every month is fresh. Every month you set your goal. You fill in the blanks, what you're going to do weekly, daily, and at the end of the month. Okay, let's go to the next page. So these are just some examples of reaching out methods. I already mentioned some of them: youth presentations, presentations with the sports nutrition products, Meology health prints, meetup groups. Now that we're through the crisis of COVID, some of these groups I know our local BNI is starting up again, women's groups, moms groups, all sorts of opportunities to join groups, book groups. Nutrition presentations, I know Jennifer's going to talk about that through Wellness Warriors, cleaner presentations. We have the backing now of Environmental Working Group as one of the agencies that talks about the dangers of pollutants all around us. Earn and Learn, 31 Days to Better Health, opportunity for people to get educated if they like that aspect of what we do. You can offer them $100 free product or set it up. I think Lisa will share a little bit about how she works that. But you can read this. I don't need to read every line. The things that I would say about this is do the things that you're really good at. I'm good at emails, monthly emails. I'm good at postcards. I'm good at making phone calls. Also, do one thing that's hard for you to do, because when it's hard for you to do it, you grow. When I first started this business in this area, having built my business foundationally with Joanne in Connecticut, I moved up here to the Boston area not knowing anyone, and I had to find a way to get some fresh blood in my database. So I worked through an organization called Welcome Wagon, which isn't around anymore. But the essence of it was I got a list of names that I paid for every month for people who moved into my town, and I was represented in a Welcome Wagon basket. And the thing was, I had to make cold calls, or otherwise I'd be throwing my money out the window. So I disciplined myself. I wrote a script. I said at 8 o'clock on every Monday and Wednesday night, I'm going to get on the phone for half an hour until I get an appointment. And it was hard. It was not something, I'm an introvert and I don't like to talk a lot, but it got me a base of 3,000 PV just by doing cold calls. So do the things that are fun and easy, but also stretch yourself maybe to do something that's a little bit tough, because there you're going to find, the extra silver lining that makes your PV expand and expand. Is there one more slide, Scott? I think. Zoom. Now we have Zoom, so you can set up Zoom calls and presentations, newsletters. Joanne's great at doing a personal newsletter to your database. Work with people who are upline to you to kind of brainstorm, think of more possibilities, and of course, listen to Shackley calls and events like we have tonight to get you inspired and engaged in building more and more PV. I think that's it. Okay, last slide. You'll see this. These are just some ideas. You can find there's aging skin, people who have allergies, people who are sick all the time, athletes. Think of the activities that are going to take you into the next level and write them down. What would happen if you took, let's pick one of these, a Zoom, right? You have 200 PV coming from retail customers. Invite them to a Zoom health event. We've got Wellness Warriors coming up with one tomorrow night, I believe. Think about expanding PV. How about doubling that PV just by getting someone to attend a Zoom event? All right, I think that's it.